Hi guys, welcome back to Queer Opinions, the podcast. I'm your host Scott McGoldrick and I'm joined by my beautifully talented co-hosts Mel and Claire. Oh, it's so good to be back. You
So
can talk
good.
now. I love how when I say your names, you're just like, as if I'm holding you hostage.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Welcome to Queer Opinions. Queer Opinions.
The podcast.
Wow.
Love, relationships, hot topics,
LGBTQ+.
Gay culture.
Scott McGoldrick with Claire.
With Claire.
And Mel.
and Mel.
Wow. It's just love.
It's just love.
It's just love. It's just love.
We have been talking about possible subjects for the podcast, and we figured since we all met as media students, it could be a good segue into what we're talking about what LGBT or gay or whatever, within the community type media figures you've grown up idolising or really, really disliking, which kind of gay icons and stereotypical gay people, gay characters, gay stereotypes in film and media, what hits home with us, and that kind of
Do you know when I think back, to the 90s, I'm trying to think, I don't know if I really watched a lot of stuff that was openly gay, except for when Will and Grace came along and Jack was, so queer and, femme. That's all I can really remember of a in your face, I'm gay character on TV. I cannot remember if there was anything in particular that stood out for me as a kid at all, but maybe different.
I think the 90s was when you look back, because obviously Friends now has made a comeback, and at the time saw nothing wrong, but in hindsight, LGBT people were not treated the best and not shown as the best. And I think now it's interesting seeing people going back to it and be like, oh, wait a minute, the representation of Chandler's dad as a trans woman, it was always the butt of the joke, as was Ross's ex-wife being a lesbian, always the butt of the joke. There was never
I forgot about that.
There was never a storyline where it was just them. It was always sort of based on the butt of the joke, the punchline being to do with the fact that they were gay, or to, the one that stands out with me was when Rachel was trying to figure out who Chandler's dad was at a wedding.
I mean, that is a great joke.
Called Amanda. And she said, oh my God, I get it, Amanda. Yeah. I think at that time, it wasn't about representation. It was just comedic value, unless you went to niche market films or whatever, kind of targeted audience.
I think that's why, as a kid, I basically looked up to really femme, beautiful women who are strong and stuff, because there wasn't a lot of out gay characters that I could look up to. So, for instance, one of my fascinations was Trish Stratus from WWF back in the day, and I think it's because she had big boobs and she was beautiful blonde and stuff, and she could could fight. And I realised I think
you're from Glasgow. If you're needing a woman, is that she can fight?
Yeah. That's a turn on for me. But I think I looked up people like that because there wasn't any. I mean, I cannot think of one at all as being a kid, except from Scar from The Lion King.
Oh yeah, complete old queen star. Definitely. I know it's hard actually to think. Obviously, I spoke about it before, but the Beth Jordache in Brookside was kind of milestone, wasn't it? The one that opened my eyes to the fact that my mum was gay. And I'm wondering, I bet that relationship and being represented had an impact on a lot of young people at the time, maybe coming out or being more comfortable.
Massively. I bet you it was especially for lesbians, young lesbians, that would have been a massive deal. Can we also?
And it wasn't done. I don't think, in hindsight, because I watched as much of it as I could find on YouTube of the whole Jordache saga the other night, because I love old school Brookside.
I used to watch that.
It didn't seem looking back, it didn't seem like it was done too much with that male gaze thing. It didn't look too much like it was done. Yeah, I mean, obviously Anna Friel was beautiful, and her co-star was really, really good looking. But there wasn't that soft porn edge to it that often there can be.
Yeah.
It was just two women who were falling in love and discovering their sexuality. It wasn't icky. You know, it wasn't done.
Bad Girls, that's, if you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Bad Girls TV show, they had like a few
Yeah.
lesbians in it at like each season, and it wasn't seen as a thing. But I don't know if that was just because it obviously was a prison drama. But it was good to see that they were just in a relationship. It wasn't like a big massive deal in a lot of the seasons and stuff. And that was like one of the first times when you realised, oh, we're just normal people. A big like thing in the UK back in the day was, do you remember Mark from EastEnders getting HIV?
Oh my God, yes.
They went for that storyline, and that was like really hardcore for back then. That was like very brave of the BBC and EastEnders for actually discussing it and stuff and making a big storyline.
I think the first kind of gay film that I saw that had actual lesbians in it was a film called Love and Annabelle, and it was about like a student and her teacher, and the teacher ended up like getting jailed at the end. And that kind of unlocked a lot of things.
I have to say something. I am seeing a pattern.
I think the first film I seen with lesbians, and it was quite hardcore for being like a 9-year-old. It was Bound with Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah,
and it was the first time I was like,
the boiler suit.
Yes,
it
was the first time I was like, okay, yeah, no, I get it.
I've seen a clip from it because I knew it was a big deal or something like that. It was like, I think I was watching a Jennifer Tilly thing, and they were talking about it, and I was like, I keep forgetting to watch it. I need to watch it. Seeing the 2000s, like these movies, Not Another Teen Movie and stuff like that. There was a movie called what was it, Gay Movie or something? No, it was something about gay. I can't remember the title. Damn it.
Okay.
I'll search for it. But that,
search for it and then put a thumbnail in.
Yeah, I just realised that would never fly these days. See the shit they were saying in that movie. It was basically straight guys acting like gay guys and really amping it up and saying the most stereotypical shit. You know what I mean? Like back in the American Pie days, basically.
Yeah.
Those stuff.
The Jackass era.
Yeah.
There was so much. See, when you actually look back at media of that time, like, see, for being not that long ago, problematic, to say the least.
It was called Another Gay Movie. So weird that shit like that used to fly. Like, we were just the butt of the jokes all the time. Yeah. Which I can understand. Like, watching it, as a gay guy, I laugh as well at a lot of these jokes. But then now,
there comes a line of being in on the joke and allowing it's like fat people, we can joke about ourselves, gay people allowed to joke about yourself. I think making a whole movie by a group of people who are not within that group. No.
Graham Norton was in that movie actually, in a shit on a glass table. That's the first ever time I ever heard of. What's it called? It's like a fetish, damn it.
Oh, scat.
Yeah, but it's called something, like when you go under the table and someone does it on top of the table.
Oh, that's pretty niche.
It's really niche. So that's when Graham Norton clearly needed money or something. I don't know what was going on. I bet you those who wrote the movie as well are fully all straight people.
Oh, yeah.
And that makes a massive difference, because then it's like, oh no, you're writing these jokes on purpose because that's what
you not with you.
Yeah, that's what you think of us.
On from that, I guess, like, what would you guys say? It would be interesting to know your views on like stereotypes within media and like being gay, being lesbian, because we all know the stereotypes. Do you think there's any that are way off base and totally not deserved as a general rule? And do you think there's any that, you know, are pretty accurate?
I mean, to be honest, I will get down with a lot of the stereotypes, because stereotypes are there for a reason, I guess. Like, they come from somewhere. And when it's fine to sit here and be like, oh, that is fucking terrible, blah, blah, blah. Like, but as I'm watching, like, them maybe make fun of gay guys or whatever, the characters making fun of themselves, I'm like, yeah, I can see that, because I've seen that in my real life. Like, they do. Like, fuck men in elevators or whatever, shit like that, if you know what I mean. I'm just trying to think of all the ways.
It's because I think with gay men, there's definitely more stereotypes. There's a wider range of stereotypes. I think with lesbians, you either have full dyke or lipstick lesbian.
Yeah, I don't know any. Do you know any other, like, have you got, I've never asked this before, but has lesbians got, see how, like, tribes, twink, bear, blah, 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 cub, do lesbians have that? Except from, like, the dyke and the lipstick.
Kinda, So you've got, like, lipstick lesbian, then you've got, like, boots lesbian. But you've got chapstick lesbian, which is kind of like not really femme but not boot, like kind of soft boot. And then you've got stone boot, which is like really, really boot lesbian that doesn't have sex, doesn't get sex, just gives it to.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So that's a top.
So
on top.
Yeah, like a full top, like not even getting anything out of it at all. So there's that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely. And then in terms of like stereotypes,
effort for very little payback.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. I think it probably comes from like a lot of lesbians who maybe are trans and they're not identifying as trans,
they also say it's
something.
A power thing as well. If you get something out of not wanting something back, but you can control everything that's happening, if you know what I mean, but they don't get to touch you.
Okay.
So it may also be like a power thing, like in control.
I suppose that's quite often used in like the kind of dom and sub thing, isn't it? Like, you're not worthy of touching me, like, don't you dare touch me.
Someone asked me not long ago, actually, I think it was like 2 weeks ago on Grindr, this is the same guy that's been asking for about a year, do you need a sub? Do you need a sub? And he went, I'll just come around and clean your living room and stuff, you don't have to do anything. I'm thinking like, I may actually do it because buttons need to.
I was just interested in asking you guys those questions because obviously we met on a media course, so we all have like a kind of shared interest in media and what's represented, and it does have such an impact on how groups are seen across like the masses. You know, media in all its forms, like be it social media, TV, film, music, it does have such an impact.
Yeah.
On everything we see.
When you think about it, see like Will and Grace, they did have the straightish gay and then the stereotypical
with Jack and
gay,
with Jack and Will.
Yeah, and I think that's at one of the first times where they showed a gay guy who was just like not
the guy,
not flowery, not throwing like, do you know what I mean, the stereotypical stuff that I do on a daily.
I think Dawson's Creek did that as well.
I've never seen Dawson's Creek.
I think the character's name was Jack. I think. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember. But I'm sure they had that, and that was quite like they definitely had a gay character who wasn't your stereotypical flouncy sort of, you know, poofy gay guy. And I guess for like an American teen drama at the time, that also was quite, because you know it was just the boy that you wouldn't immediately guess.
Did he start off as the jock, the top footballer, and then got really bullied the gay guy?
I can't remember. I think he did have a Letterman jacket, but I can't remember. I can't remember. Don't quote me on it.
Because it always started with them like playing the football. They were the straight guy no one would ever know, and then they would bully the gay guy
their dad
and like throw them up against the locker, but they were like this close to kissing. If you know what I mean. The whole point, actually, in media, it opens people's eyes to different lifestyles and different views. And it can really change people's opinions like that. Because
for good or bad, definitely.
Because if you think about it, the amount of straight guys who probably had a lot to say about gay men, but then they sat down and found Jack from Will and Grace hilarious and they were laughing with him, like at him and stuff. And that probably broke some walls down for a lot of men who realised, oh, gay guys can be funny, we can hang with them. They're not. I don't have to have a wall up. I don't have to basically hide from them to make sure they don't come at me.
Well, I remember like being a teen because obviously I was with the same person from when they were 13. So I watched like a young guy grow into a man, and I remember like being really pissed off because his attitude when he was like 13, 14 was like, oh my God, if there's a gay guy in the changing room, I'd have to turn the other way. You know, it was that.
Yeah.
And he'd been brought up in a way that was his thoughts. But then as years went on, like without badgering him, that view changed, you know, and like I think that did go alongside definitely the fact that we're progressing in the media and like in general as a like people.
We're ingesting
like,
different lifestyles, different beliefs, different views in the world, and subconsciously I think we take it in without realising, and then slowly our views change to our own instead of having the same views as our parents.
I think now as well, because there's so many different streams of media coming to us, that it's not just BBC that's coming to you. It's not just rich white guy channels that are coming to you. It's not, do you know what I mean?
Just Dave.
Yeah. I think infinite amount of TV shows, like YouTube streams, you know, and then you get into social media, which is just taking over the universe. That
channel Dave is really just pisses me the fuck off. It's like
I think I spent my teen years watching Dave.
It's like, was that chocolate that's like for men only?
Yorkies.
Yeah. Oh, Yorkie.
Man chocolate.
I hate, like, every guy thing has to be black, like a black packaging, and it has to smell of oak or something. It's always oak and something from the woods.
Body wash has to be like 9 in 1. Like,
it'll scratch your arse for you as well. It'll do everything.
It'll help with your allergies.
17 razor blades. Just who needs one?
That reminds me. I seen a tweet on Twitter actually that a girl posted of this.
And you seen a tweet on Twitter?
Yeah, I seen a tweet on Twitter, and I only like took a screenshot and stuff because I've been seeing it a lot recently, and it's blackfishing, where these white girls, like Instagrams and stuff, are tanning so much. And I'm doubting it's just tanning. One of my friends I know, she used to inject herself with tanning, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Which is so fucking dangerous because she was getting them from a guy at the gym. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? You don't know? I know. And then she's a lesbian, by the way, Mel, so that's your thing.
Honestly, see on Facebook, see if you're on any like women's groups, you will have had inboxes from, hey chick, you look quite pale in your photos. Fancy looking like you're going on holiday. Like, oh, I can sell you 18 tan jabs for only £275.
What the fuck?
I would never inject myself just for a fucking tan. Like, what the
And
hell?
Especially from some fucking person who's put it in your inbox.
For them to work, you have to go for sunbeds as well. So you're like doubling your dangers just for like an outer appearance, just for a little glow. Like, you're just fucking a fake tan. Going
to the blackfishing thing. This look is to achieve a look that black women for centuries have been pushed aside because of, and have been treated so disgustingly because of. So like, to get white women taking it and running with it and then getting praise for it is, I think that's where the blackfishing thing becomes really problematic, is cultural appropriation versus appreciation.
I think Wendy Williams always says, you may want to act black and think you are black, but the difference is when a police car stops you, you are not shitting yourself for your life, you know what I mean? And then you automatically become very white when the police pops up.
Oh, motherfucker, man, I hate technology.
I know, technology will be the death of us. I feel as though we were on a roll there too, because we had like good...
I know, we had a good link up to each of them. Ugh. Oh, so blackfishing.
Oh yeah, I understand if you're picking up mannerisms and slang, if you grow up in, I don't know, like...
a particular area.
Yeah, a particular area in London or whatever. Yeah. But to change your skin tone to mirror someone you basically want to be like, that is where you cross the line, and it's completely unacceptable. That's blackfishing, basically, to go on Instagram and gain money or ad revenue appearing to be black.
A friend of mine pointed out a really big thing within it as well, is it is taking features that currently are on trend, that are currently viewed as desirable and everything, but that when those trends pass, black women, for example, still have and are no longer for. And it's across the board. It's not black women who have brought these trends to the forefront. It's white women who are gaining off the back of something that black women have been like persecuted for. There's little girls at school who get sent home for not adhering to dress code because they have their hair in braids. when
natural hair.
it's a protective hairstyle for their type of hair, when then other little girls are getting sent home for not having had their afros tamed, and it's like, well, where'd you go from that? You've got melanin injected women on Instagram making mega bucks off of looking a certain way that naturally black people are like persecuted for. It's ridiculous.
Sorry, I'm listening. I'm just trying to find that tweet, like where these pictures came from. So if you just keep talking, I'll look through my Twitter and see if I can find, because I want to read some of the replies.
Oh no, God, Mel.
Are you okay, Mel?
Yeah, I know, it's really gross. I'm trying to be quiet.
No, it's fine, but I just feel bad for you because you looked at, like, I know what it's like, see those nights when my allergies kicked up. Holy shit, like, I will do anything for them to go away. Like, a steamy shower and all that's usually, like, quite good for them. We'll just keep you for half an hour, that's all you're contracted to. This is a new segment we're going to call Straight Up Questions, and it's going to be from Claire, who is just going to ask me or Mel weekly, like, one question that is always popped into her head or whatever. So let's do it.
Okay.
So to put me to shame, I guess it's obviously going to be a sex question.
Of course, the best.
And it's one that actually, when I have talked around straight friends of mine, a lot of us want to know. So if you are out at a club or out at however you're going to pull and you meet someone, I guess this is more directed to Scott, but I don't know, fling it at me if I'm wrong. You're getting on with somebody, it's all going good. You go back, you discover you're both tops.
Oh God. Well, I
so
mean,
what happens? And like, is there a discussion or do you get a vibe?
There was a point in my life a few years ago where this boy was a bottom as well. So, but he wanted to have sex, like a hookup, like a friendly hookup here and then, because he stayed close. So, but I would make him top, even though he didn't want to top, and he would always ask me to top, and I'd be like, no. And now I'm looking back, I'm like, that is so fucking selfish. Like, just a straight up no for me. I'm like, listen, you wanted this, you came all the way here and stuff, you are going to top me.
You're in it for you right
now.
You ain't kidding. But is there ever, like, if you met somebody you like, okay, oh my God, right, even worse, like, so if you met somebody and you hadn't got sexual with them and you liked them, would it be a deal breaker or is it something you can work around?
I guess.
In your experience, I guess.
I guess it would be kind of a deal breaker for me because I like tops. I like sort of not dom tops, but like I like the butch dykey tops that are full blown know that they're a top and they don't want to be versed on nothing. That's the type of guys I'm into. So it would probably.
Can you tend to get a vibe? You know the way, I hate the expression, but you know the way that you have gaydar. Is there an equivalent? Do a lot of people give off a vibe of I'm a top or I'm a bottom or?
Well, I feel as though they used to, definitely. But see, now it's so confusing. Me and Ross were talking about this, my friend. We were saying it's so confusing that these days it's basically all the guys with the 8-packs and the muscles and everything. The massive guys you would assume were tops, that because they used to be years ago, that's how they were portrayed, are now the bottoms. And all the femme guys seem to be the tops. It's like they've totally switched roles. But I feel as though you do get like this sort of sense. I don't know how to explain it. But then a lot of other times I've been completely shocked and be like, what, you're a top or you're a bottom? So sometimes those senses don't really work that well.
Your spidey senses can't always be on point.
Yeah, especially if you're pissed. Hammered.
Well, if my pish nights out are anything to go by, anyone could be anything.
What about you, Mel? Is it different for lesbians?
I mean, I thought it was until I kind of discovered recently that like a lot of kind of like lesbians on Twitter have started to use the top and bottom thing.
Really?
And I'm like, oh, do we do that? So apparently we do that. Yeah. But I don't subscribe to it personally. I'm kind of just whatever. I think it's just fair that like you both do the stuff.
Yeah, but it's not just one person putting in the work. Do you know Farrah Moan, like from Drag Race? She's a top, so you would never expect that. Exactly. That was my face as well. I was like, what? And then
Because they're like really, really feminine.
yeah, she's like really feminine. She's like the one with the highlighter and all that. Like she's like
Mhm.
Gigi gorgeous, like the way she presents herself.
Yeah.
So it's even like out of drag, she's got longish
Yeah.
hair. She still wears her nails and stuff.
Very, very femme out of drag.
That was a shock. But
Mhm.
then I found out like a lot of drag queens, especially from like Drag Race and stuff, are tops. So I think in our minds we
Wow.
assume they're bottoms because they're presenting as femme, but then
Yeah.
they're completely shocked when these really femme guys are actual hardcore tops. Mel,
Do you
you
know
look
what
out your
one-
face.
You
This whole
You're
episode, you're
looking
just
out
sitting there
the
like, yeah.
I've taken quite a bit of parenting, and I'm on my second beer.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and a
call it
vodka,
like
so
the
I'm a little
episode Mel gets the episode Mel's too high.
Mel's political corner will be an interesting saga today.
It actually is quite an interesting corner today. So today's politics section is about poppers. There was in 2016 this sort of policy, and it was to do with psychoactive substances, and so like lots of different substances got banned. However, poppers, due to like gay activism and kind of outcry, weren't added to that list. But in 2018, there was a court appeal judgment basically saying that whilst poppers weren't directly psychoactive, they are indirectly psychoactive and therefore may be subject to being banned under this 2016 law that came in. And so currently, Priti Patel, the Tory person that deals with that, is seeking advice from the ACMD, that's the Advisory Council for Misuse of Drugs, on whether or not we should ban poppers or not. And so people are kind of going a bit mental to say, like, what's the point in going after this at the moment? There's so many kind of better things to deal with.
How about dealing with
yeah.
the meth issue in the gay community and before the poppers? No one talks about that. The amount of gay men who are having sex parties doing full-blown meth, then they're also adding G. And then
I didn't know. I'd never even heard
that.
Other than Katia talking about being like a prior meth user. I didn't know that was a.
It's called chemsex parties. There's actually a documentary about it, I think, on YouTube or BBC, and I watched it and it was really interesting.
Is this like a new thing, or is it a bit of a resurgence of kind of 80s gay culture?
Well, I feel as though it's like a new thing. Not a new thing, it's been going for a few years. But the fact that it's been going for a few years and no one seems to be talking about it as if it's not an issue.
Yeah,
like that is
I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
My friend told me it's £150 for 1 gram of meth here. When in the States, it is the most dirtiest drug you can ever take. It's so cheap in the States because it's seen as
I didn't even think they had meth here.
Near did I. I'd never heard of
crazy.
it until... and I'm like, oh, thank you. So gay men are bringing it. Like... basically into the psyche of the UK.
But then, that then opens a whole world of are gays bringing back the meth trade in the UK or some shit.
I know,
that's where Tory brains and Tory media would go with that.
I've not heard any, I don't hang around with a lot of straight people, but I assume they don't have a lot of chemsex parties compared to gay men.
Probably not.
Is a massive issue. So...
the best we get is an invite to, like, christenings.
But the thing that I was thinking about is like it's not just meth they're taking, right? Because meth makes them want to fuck, but they can't get hard, so they have to take Viagra, which is terrible for the blood vessels and stuff, and
especially if used along with poppers.
Plus, they take G, which is a date rape drug. So these 3 drugs are in their systems at all times. So these chemsex parties. Which is just asking for trouble, in my opinion. I would like to say I'm not judging anyone, but I am judging. I mean, people can judge me for whatever the hell I do.
There's people who are into that. People who love druggy sex.
Oh yeah, no,
but there's a difference there between people liking druggy sex and
it basically becomes an addiction. That's what worries me.
Poppers, absolute thumbs up for me. Contrasted to
meth, no. I just remembered when I was 17 or 18, I was fucking this older guy who was like 40. He was a fucking creep, because he used to always like basically call me son. and he'd be like, call me.
Ew.
It got to the point, like, in my head, I'm like, right, no, now you're getting to like a pedo kind of thing. The way he was talking, it wasn't normal. And then he wanted to spank my ass, but he wanted to spank it like really hard. But that story just went in my head because with poppers, it just went clicked. I totally forgot about it. I had the worst experience of my life with poppers. I was getting fucked, by this man, and he done it so hard that, but I was using poppers at the same time. So you know how you're like on doggy style, but you're using poppers. He banged me, and the poppers went all up my nose and down my throat, and it burnt like fuck. He would not let me leave me alone. I ran to the toilet. I had to basically inhale water like cocaine, like trying to flush everything out. And he had to cheat to want to continue to fuck me. And I was like, are you for real? I am going to probably die. I was freaking the fuck out. Because this toxin, like whatever the hell it is not supposed to be in your fucking system. Clear your cameras.
No, I know. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call just to find it.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
That's how horny he was. He wanted to keep going. And that was the last time I seen him because I was like, these have just been a massive... Yeah, because... I'm talking about a lot, literally.
Allegedly, if you swallow them, it's very, 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 very dangerous.
The taste from these things would not go away for ages. It was just, I can still see. I'm thinking about it now. See that smell memory, like I can taste it and smell it because I'm having a memory of it.
See with poppers, do you find them useful particularly for what?
Gay guy, like as a bottoming, they're useful for about a second, to be honest.
Yeah.
I get the big deal. I think most of the time people just do it because when you do get that hit at the same time as someone's fucking you, it does feel amazing for like 2 seconds, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not like amazing. Just take mushrooms and then get fucking if you want that amazing feeling. They're constant like trying to inhale.
See, that's the bit that I've wondered about. I'm like, that is a verse.
You're telling them like constantly like, wait a second. So it's like, it's wasting a lot of time.
They're
the top's just sitting back there like, hurry up. Were you shocked about the news of Ellen's like whole, bitchy side when it came out?
I was quite, but then I guess you can never be super shocked by what you find out about celebrities because you don't know them. Like, you don't hang out with them, you don't go to dinner with them. And I know myself, I present myself so differently when I'm in like large groups of people.
Yeah.
Much less who I am when I'm in my jammies in the living room with like you guys or other friends. Like, I'm so much more of a dickhead in real life than I present myself to be. And when you have a platform as big as Ellen's, of course you're going to get your fame on being a nice guy.
Do you know what makes me think though? Like, see when these cameras are off in my daily life, I have got such a personality that flips. I have moods like all the time. I look like a complete cunt. So,
I guess for someone like Ellen though, I mean, she has made her squillions of money on this persona that I guess isn't that different to, say, a drag persona. Like, these people are famous for being Trixie Mattel. They're famous for being... They're not famous for being their boy self, who they actually are. And I guess Ellen, as we see her, is probably almost a character.
I think because she did go down the whole road of be kind. Like, that was what she ended her show on, like, every episode. Yeah. That is sort of... what's that word again?
Like hypocritical contradiction.
Yeah, she's contradicting herself.
It's kind of expected if someone is kind of rich and powerful and stuff, it's kind of expected that they're going to be a bit of a dick because with money and power that kind of comes. But when she's put so much emphasis on the be kind sort of stuff, then she isn't, and she acts the way that you would expect someone with that amount of power, etc., to act. It's going to come back and haunt you.
She's just been a dick, she's just kind of like treated people badly. Is there anything that I'm not seeing that's like particularly awful that she's done? Because
I know. See, the thing is, I was also thinking, the only thing she's done is basically lie to her, like the public and her fans. Sorry guys, Mel had to go because of her allergies. It's really bad. She had to go for a shower and stuff. You've probably noticed in the video.
I suppose we can just finish up on where we were. Let's go with Ellen.
Ellen DeGeneres. So I think, what was I watching? And they were saying she has every right to, if she doesn't want to talk to people every day, then that's her right. Because boundaries, she's had to probably get people come in her face every single day since this show and say, Ellen, dance for me, Ellen, blah, blah, blah. Which would drive you fucking crazy.
Do you know what? See, I think I'm with that side. I think that I guess if you're going to go with it, I would say I'm Team Ellen, because I think any public person like that is going to have a persona. And I think Ellen, as we see her, is obviously, imagine fucking living with Ellen. Imagine her poor wife if she actually was like
that
Ellen.
Happy all the time. Could you imagine?
All the time. You couldn't deal with it. No one could deal with it. And I think, like, you see it a lot with drag queens who get absolutely dragged through the mud because after shows they don't want to stop and take pictures.
Yeah.
And it's like, they've done their bit. You've paid their ticket to go and see them perform. They've done that. You wouldn't expect...
They don't owe you anything, if you know what I mean.
And you wouldn't expect it of, like... Imagine you go to a Beyonce concert. You wouldn't expect... stand outside and her come and take pictures with you, because she's done
never expect that.
And I think with Ellen it's almost the same. And why should her real face and her real persona be any different, be the same as what she gets famed for?
See, at the same time, if her show has helped, I mean, the amount of people that she's helped from that show alone, probably thousands, for the amount of years it's been on, the amount of charities she's donated to and stuff. And people say, yeah, but it's not her donating to the charities, it's like sponsors and stuff. But at the same time,
platform to promote themselves to do that sponsorship is
exactly, it's her name. Like, if she wasn't there, then those sponsorships may not be going to like LGBTQ like charities and stuff.
Exactly. And she's even if you go out with like actual money, sums of money, how many things have trended on Twitter that have been beneficial to people after having been on Ellen? How many people how many things have been made aware of through them being like put on Ellen's platform?
Exactly, she gives them a platform. There is a video like on YouTube that's like the top 10 Ellen something like bad interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
And there is some times where she steps over the line, like trying to get Mariah Carey to drink champagne when she knew she was basically hiding her pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's not fair because she's putting her on the spot, you know what I mean?
When you're in the spotlight for so long, you're going to make errors of judgment.
Yeah, I feel like there's 10 errors there, right? But in the amount of years she's been on show, well, 10 is not a lot, really, if you think about it.
And yeah, I mean, the Mariah Carey one was one that sprung to mind because that was horrible. Obviously, she basically forced her into admitting she was pregnant before she wanted to. So
she could get the story, basically.
Yeah.
Wait, Mariah, did that not go bad, that pregnancy?
Yeah, I think that pregnancy ended in miscarriage, which obviously then it put her in a place of being a grieving mother-to-be in the spotlight, with that spotlight being shone on her.
I heard like quite a few years ago actually, because I'm a big fan of Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin mentioned in her book stuff about Ellen because Joan Rivers never liked Ellen and stuff because Ellen was snooty and up her nose and basically said Joan Rivers was like hurtful, evil, heartless and stuff like that. Just because of the type of joke she told, but Joan Rivers literally, a woman in the airport said, I like your necklace, and she literally just took it off and gave it. Like, that's not a heartless person.
No.
So she was judging her on her jokes alone, and Kathy Griffin was a big like friend of Joan Rivers, so she really took offence to it when Joan Rivers died, and Ellen basically never paid attention or anything to it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's like, you're not supporting older women in the comedy industry, which is a massive deal because not many older women get to that status. Like,
and are at the top of their game in that.
You should be celebrating like that win. Like, she was amazing. She was an icon, like a gay icon.
Yeah,
she basically put her nose up to her just because. And then it makes you think, you're like, wait a minute, but you're sitting behind that camera probably saying worse stuff than she is in real life. She's got the ability to say it on stage as jokes and then be nice in real life, but what are you saying behind that camera? That's like very contradictory and like hypocritical.
I think it is contradictory, and I think like obviously you basically just shouldn't be a bitch. You should be a decent person and all that. But I do think that people are held to a higher standard when they have a famous persona. And I just don't think that people should be hauled out for slipping up in that persona. It's like, one person who I think has managed that public persona thing really well is what's his name, Lee Francis, the guy that plays Keith Lemon.
Oh yeah.
He isn't known as Lee Francis. He is only known characters.
If you not got a wife and no one knows and stuff.
Nobody really about his personal life. And Sacha Baron Cohen, like, he went along just being Ali G and being whoever for ages. And other than that, he's married to Isla Fisher. Like, we don't know much about him.
He's very
and you know, it's almost like, see, if Keith Lemon says something, it's not Lee Francis that gets back from it, is Keith Lemon. Keith Lemon doesn't actually exist. He's a character, as is Ellen.
Yeah, technically.
Like, that's where I think
she may not be admitting that she's a character. Maybe that's where the line is, like, kind of mixed up, because she never admitted. It wasn't obvious. 3 producers got fired from the show now because of it. And that I totally understand that, because people keep putting it on Erin, right? But how the fuck is one woman supposed to know what everything is going on in a workplace? There's always going to be
office block.
Your audio's kind of going on and off, actually.
Sorry, I think I might just need to stay close to the
like, every single workplace has its own dynamics and stuff that the boss has no idea about. So why is it any different that it's Ellen, if you know what I mean?
Well, that's it. And she'll have people telling her what she's to be doing, while she's also telling other people. But at the end of the day, the buck falls at her, because she's the public face.
Yeah.
If you imagine, almost Ellen is almost like a company rather than a person. It's
it's almost like she's not a person anymore. She's got that big, that she is a brand.
She's the face of a brand, and that, I think, is where it's difficult, because when she doesn't behave like that brand, it's
very hard to sell a brand of happiness and kindness when you're depressed, and the rumours that have been told about you, like nobody's looking in the eye and stuff. She did say though that she had no clue where that rumour came from, and that does seem like one of those Hollywood rumours that
you know what, that don't look them in the eye is the one that's said about everybody. You know, I've got a friend who works in hospitality. They had Rihanna was staying at their hotel. They were told you're not allowed to look her in the eye. When she comes down the corridor, you turn around. I think
that's mostly their PAs or their, like, they're saying that, and these stars have no fucking idea that they're hanger-ons are saying stuff like that, because they feel as though, like, she's a big deal. Do not look her in the eye. She's not in the mood today and stuff. So, like, that gets carried on, but usually the stars have no fucking clue what these people are saying.
Well, see, as well, I went to college previously with a woman whose husband is involved with a well-known band. I'm not going to say the names or anything, because she never referred to him in, like, social media or anything. So Scottish anyway. And
a Scottish band, sorry?
Yeah, Scottish band. And they ended up in, like, a sticky situation, because it was rumoured that they were really, like, their rider for shows was insane.
Crazy.
And as it turned out this was a kind of jokey thing that had happened. Somebody had said something funny, and it got twisted and put on paper, and it turned into this whole thing where they're like, oh, they're so demanding, they want this, they're behaving above their station. And after that, she couldn't even mention the band's name or her husband's name on her social media in case of, like, causing shit or causing more trouble. And it's like, it's just people. See, at the back of all of it, me and you could sit and say stuff and it'd be totally taken out of context when we know, like, we're not.
Yeah, this video could be cut up and all that, and just, like...
Or calling gay men, like, drug addicts, because we've spoken about who clipped them in.
Cut that.
Yeah, and I guess that's part of media that we all need to stop getting so hung up on, is what we're being shown is not reality.
Sorry guys, we have been having so many technical issues tonight. It's just not our night. Thank you for the support you're showing on our videos. Please be sure to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell, just because it does help a lot in getting our videos up there and the algorithm and stuff. And we would really love you to show support to some Scottish podcasters and the LGBTQ plus space. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. We really do appreciate it.
Queer Opinions.
The podcast.
Wow.
Love, relationships, hot topics.
LGBTQ plus.
Gay culture.
Scott McGoldrick with Claire.
With Claire.
And Mel.
And Mel.
Wow. It's just love.
It's just love.
It's just love. It's just love. It's just love.